Jalen is doing fine. The added rest or the extra rest this week has really helped him. He's going to practice today, and we'll see where he's at the end of the day.
Doug, you mentioned one of the challenges this year for being at coaching this year was making sure that the guys got touches. You mentioned Alshon, you mentioned the running backs. In Alshon and LeGarrette, you have two guys who have 1,000-yard seasons, double-digit touchdowns in their passes. How important from a leadership standpoint has it been for them to accept their usage?
Well, I think anytime too that you factor in the wins and they're contributing to the wins, I think takes away, sort of minimizes or sort of takes away the fact that I've got to have 1,000 yards, I got to have 10 touchdowns, or I've got to rush for this many yards and have this many touchdowns. I think it just sort of minimizes that just a little bit because the team is doing well and the success of the offense. And I think in both of those cases, I can't speak for the places they've been. Obviously, we know where LeGarrette's been and his run last year, but I just feel that's a big part of it, and the way the team chemistry is made up, and again, it goes back to communication. Me, Frank, whoever, Mike Groh, Deuce, communicating with these players, they're at their position to make sure that they understand that we put the team and the offense first.
Did you communicate with them personally? Did you go to look at, like, after the 0 carries game in Kansas City? LeGarrette took a pretty high road. Not only that week, but the next week when he was productive, he didn't say, "See what I could do." He said, "Hey, this is the way it goes." Did you talk to him at all individually, and did you talk to Alshon, whose numbers weren't that great really through like the middle of the season? They've taken a bump since. Did you address either of them individually?
Yeah, I have, and we continue to, and I continue to, and going back to those two moments, but specifically with LeGarrette, definitely had conversation, with him after the fact, and this was before obviously we picked up Jay, so. And he's good. He was good with that, and of course we had Sproles still at that time, and we factored him in. So it's a learning experience, and they've listened. They've really accepted their roles as starters or situational, players on the team, and even just overall accepting it, and but again, the communication has been there, and it'll continue to be there.
How are your other injuries a good example for the rest of the team? Because we talked about Zach when he had his 100-yard game. It was the first 100-yard game you guys had.
Torrey had one.
Do you think that sets an example, though, that, okay, if these guys can do it with their pedigree, you guys should all be able to do it?
For sure, without a doubt. And again, it goes back to the fact that the offense is having success on third down, having success in the red zone, rushing the football. It's been a combined effort, and as long as we continue to do that, and it's the other thing too. You factor in, okay, sometimes these defenses that we see, and we're facing a team again this week that they're gonna double Zach, they're gonna take away Alshon, they're gonna try to do some things this week that we've seen on film, and so we're also getting into some of those areas where maybe their production's down just a little bit, but somebody else's goes up based on the defensive scheme we're seeing that week too.
How are your other injured guys? Barnett, Wiz.
Barnett and Wiz have been, again, Barnett goes in with Jalen. The extra rest this week has really helped him. He feels good today, and he'll practice, and then we'll see where he's at the end of the day. Wiz continues to get better. He's practiced obviously, and in a little bit of a limited fashion, but again, he's another one that's coming along, and we'll see where he's at again today.
Will he be questionable?
Wiz will be questionable, yes.
You mentioned pulling back on practice a little bit this week. How much do you rely on player feedback or the sports science stuff? Just what factors do you use to make a decision like that?
All of that, really. I just again, it goes back to the communication thing. I just make sure I communicate with the players and see how they feel and see where they're at, and then just monitor through some of the GPS stuff that we're doing and some of the tracking data that's out there that we have, and then just overall injuries too. Just the health of the football team overall, listening to players and things of that nature. And really with an extra kind of an extra day this week, just giving them that extra rest, staying off their feet, even though it was more, walk through. I say walk through, but it was really more up tempo walk through the two practices this week. So it's been good. Guys are feeling good, and just got to keep everybody fresh and healthy for Monday night.
Tonight's game is relatively important for you guys. Is there sort of a dual plan from a player management perspective, just playing time, depending on the Vikings factors?
No.
Is Carson coming to the game, and if so, can he be on the sideline?
I believe he is coming to the game, and no, he will not be on the sideline just because of, he's still walking around on the crutches.
You have 3 young players, and Smallwood and Isaac and Rasul Douglas, who have had significant roles at points during the season, and now that they don't seem to have that, do you have to, as a coach, kind of make sure that they're still invested, that they're still kind of keeping up with things?
Yeah, again, just having the open dialogue with them, still communicating with those 3 guys, and they've all had, as you said, they've all had a little bit of a significant role, this season already. But just making sure that they stay plugged in. Who knows what happens again, tonight obviously, or next week, where these guys might get a little more time. But it takes everybody, obviously, and they get good service team reps, and just make sure they stay plugged in from my standpoint, and also their position coach.
Do you treat them significantly different than the veterans who might be in a similar situation?
Yeah, just a little bit, because this is kind of new for them, because they've especially young guys, they've come from college where they've been the starter and been the guy, and now they're on a team where everybody's really good, and and so you have to kind of manage or massage that just a little bit. A veteran player who's been around, who's kind of seen it, maybe been through it, they understand it a little bit better.
You don't emphasize time with the families for the players. How do you deal with Monday? Give them any time in the morning to be with their families? Is it football all day? What's the plan?
No, I think it's important that they spend time with their families, Christmas morning, and so giving them an opportunity. I pushed the schedule back just a little bit. We don't play, obviously, till 8. So, yeah, I think it's important that the coaches and players, listen, you don't get these times back. You don't get them back, and it's too important to me, my family, and so I want to make sure that these players with young kids, coaches with young kids, they get a chance to spend Christmas morning together.
Doug, I wondered, given the menu of pass rushers that Lane has seen this year, first, how difficult has that been? And then your thoughts on how he's responded to that challenge.
Well, we've had, each week it seems like, obviously no shortage of great pass rushers this season, either side of the ball or either side of the defense. I tell you, Lane gets fired up. He gets fired up each week when he comes in on Tuesday. He's chomping at the bit. He's studying the tape and understanding who that pass rusher is. And listen, we've got just in our own division here, in the NFC East, we got some great pass rushers. So he gets a lot of work, each and every time we play a division opponent. But we've played this AFC West this season, and this is a great opportunity this week in Khalil, and he's a tremendous player, and Lane has done an outstanding job. I mean, obviously a Pro Bowl player that's played well and lived up to his potential, and it's fun to watch him play.
So what is your plan for usage on Monday night if it's not contingent on tonight? You have a plan A and a plan A. So what is plan A?
Win the game. I mean,
play your best players as long as
to play our best players and win. I think it's important that they continue to play, and it's if we're in that position, if we're fortunate enough to be in that position to rest, I'll make a decision at that time. But I think it's important here in these next couple of games that we continue to play.
So even if Dallas is meaningless, even for Dallas, you envision starting the starters and playing them until the game's not in question.
Well, I'll make that decision if we're there, but right now, because that's week 17, you don't play for a couple of weeks. I think it's important to maintain the edge, maintain the aggressiveness, and if it's one play, one series, one quarter, I'll make that decision at that time.
As a follow-up on the Mac question, Frank said he's moving around more than a few years ago. Are you expecting Big V to have to spend time on the field?
I am expecting 52 to line up over there, and try him too. And again, Big V's done a nice job this year, and would expect a solid performance from him as well.
When he's had issues in pass protection, what has been the common thread? What are the things that can get him?
Yeah, I think sometimes they get a little top heavy, and can drop your head, lower your eyes, shoot your hands. I mean, it's just a couple of technique things. Maybe a Coach Stoutland is always talking about hit the feet and the set lines and different things of that nature. And sometimes you get off of that and you don't trust that, and that's what's gotten him in trouble a couple of times this year. But he works on it in practice, he fixes it, and you just got to trust his instincts.
Before the injury, how important was it to keep the same structure around Carson as far as Flip and Frank and you? I ask that because the Raiders changed coordinators, had a great year last season, seemed to have taken a step back with a young quarterback.
I felt it was very important to keep those guys, especially Carson's second year. This is a big year. The second and third years are big growth years for young quarterbacks, young players, and it's too important to Carson's development, obviously, and to the success of the team, to keep those coaches intact and keeping them coaching the same guys. And it's we've been fortunate this year, and Frank and D. Filippo have done an outstanding job working with the quarterbacks, obviously, but it's just for the overall development, second and third year, you make those big improvements.